Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host, Bryan. We're going to do a special selection, which is where one of you tell me exactly what it is I need to check out. If you have a track you'd like to suggest for special selections, you can find a link to do so in the description below. Today's comes at us from Artist Circle. Gotta expose you to more Swallow the Sun so you'll stop confusing them for Hail the Sun. We have Sleepless Swans. Now, in my defense, I don't confuse them for Hail the Sun. It's just when I see the sun, my brain skips the first word and it's like, oh, new Hail the Sun, and then it's not, and then I'm a bit disappointed. With that said, however, I don't have a sound in my mind for this band. I checked, they have been on the channel prior, but it was January of 2021, which is pretty much 2 years ago at this point. So, yeah, it's always good for a refresher on older bands that just haven't had that time to solidify their sound in my mind. Well, let's dive into this. We have Sleepless Swans by Swallow the Sun. Yeah, a ton of spacer. They used one bar out of their 4 bar phrase, leaving 3 bars of silence or just decay from the last note. Gorgeous. I could listen to more of this. I love the way everything layers on top of each other. It really creates a strong atmosphere. Where the bass sits under everything and just supports it. The very sparse drumming. It allows this song, or this section, to just exist. There is no drive forward, but there is a static sense of self. Still a very large sense of beauty to this. It's just a turn I was not expecting. I like the vocal diversity, the cleans, the growls, the black metal style harsh. I mean, does it fit? Kind of. Why, though? Does it? I don't know. really interesting that we moved from the semi-driving drums and the growls back to the same reserve style we have previously for these vocals. Ooh. Yeah, vamping back and forth on this, no resolution. Just like brightness into darkness. I love how this higher pitched, I mean, it's not super high, it's like middle range, exists in the middle of the song, even EQ wise, and all the low ends died out around it, and it just pierced through the middle of that heaviness, that weight to shine through. So good. Going the doom angle. All right. Yeah, so that took me for a bit of a spin. I knew it was 7.5 minutes, so I kind of figured there was going to be some evolution of the idea that we saw in the beginning, but I didn't think it was going to take such a leap as it did. I greatly enjoyed the opening section's atmosphere building. First of all, it sucked me right in with its use of scarcity, sparsity, space, silence, more importantly. We had a 3-beat idea that resonated into the fourth and then was allowed to taper off naturally over the next 12 beats. It's an interesting idea to only play music for 25% of a song, or a section in this case. You have a 4-bar phrase, you play notes in 1 bar. That leaves 3 bars of silence. I love it. I do. It's gutsy, it's theatric, but music is combinations of sounds and silence, and so rarely do we hear the silence in metal. I liked hearing it. Even if it was only done the first time, as soon as we hit bar 5, it seemed like we were going to repeat this idea, but there's this ambient, I don't know, feedback from an amp or something rising up under it this time. We didn't have a sense of time yet, but it wasn't alone, and we didn't have silence afterwards. When we got to bar 9, which would be the third bar of the repetition. The drums came in, the bass came in. I think a second guitar line came in. This is when we hit the section for real. Um, and it wasn't long after this, might have been another repetition or two before we added the vocals on top of it. So it wasn't an idea that we stuck around with for too long, but I think that also works in their favor. Most people, when they turn on music, want to hear music. So if they would have repeated that 4 times, which is a pretty standard thing to repeat, or technically repeat it 3 times, but do it 4 times long of just a couple of notes and then a majority of silence, I think it would not impact people the way that they want it to. Moving past that idea and building it up every repetition is certainly the way to go for driving the song in the way that I think it's designed to be, which is not necessarily to get to the point, but it gives the understanding of feeling alone without wallowing in it, without making it the core part of the section. So already I'm like, oh, we have some isolation in here. And then that's it. We don't need to spend a lot of time in it. I don't think that's the point of the song. I think the point of the section is just to induce that idea into the listener's mind, to get them thinking like that. So it's an underlying component to listening to the opening section of this song. And we can quickly get into the song, the core of the song, which, at least to my mind, is more important than this opening idea. Very smart decision there. We get to this opening idea, though, proper with all the layers, and it is gorgeous. There is a haunting beauty to this entire section. It is isolating, it is static, it doesn't want to go anywhere, it just exists. It is a bit, I say haunting, but I think lonely is actually a better word for it. That's not to say that there aren't some eerie components to the chord progression, but it's lonely, and I think that really stems from our opening idea of isolation. Oh, that's another good thing is pacing too. Like if we had stuck in that opening idea for 4 bars and then moved into the full idea, it would have felt segmented. This was the intro, now this is the song, but instead it feels like a natural part of it. It's a natural progression. So mentally, I want to combine the two. We were here and now we are there. They're tied together, not separate entities. So yeah, just another good reason to have moved along rather than stuck with that. Just really great decision making as far as composition goes right there. The layering is beautiful, the way all the elements sort of dance around each other. There are some suspended chords, but there's also two, I think, moving lines where the notes themselves just sort of dancing around. When one person plays, the other one's not, kind of idea. And it's sort of like a hocket, but the two ideas, well, actually, no, it's not like a hocket, it's counterpoint. Plain and simple. Two ideas doing their own thing, but sound great together. The vocals here are just so good too. They have this nice warmness to them. They are a bit lower in the pitch. I don't know if that's a comfortable low for him. Maybe the vocalist just naturally speaks in that range, or if he's really pushing down in there, but it feels effortless. It feels natural. But I think the key is that it feels low energy, just like the drums. Every other beat, snare, snare, bass, with a hi-hat. I think it's a closed hi-hat hit on every beat. It is just, like I said, it's not moving, it's not driving anywhere, but it's not non-existent either. It exists. There is a core, there is a heartbeat to this section. It's just, there's no momentum, there's no motivation. It is something that is sure of itself, but doesn't know where to go. That's what the vocals and the drumming tell me in this section. And everything else, like I said, is to build atmosphere. Just gives us this nice haunting loneliness. Beautiful section. Absolutely love it. I'm glad we returned to it. After this, we move into a metally section. We retain some of the beautiful atmosphere. Our electric guitar retains the chord progression, but the music changes. Our vocals shift to growls, our drums pick up in intensity. Um, the bass stops doing this really nice suspended support concept. We get these really, I meant to mention this in the first section, but we get these really nice meaty bass ideas that just reverberate under everything. I think some of that's just going to be EQ and production. Some of it's going to be, pedals and amp. There's not a lot going on performance wise. It's just, pluck a note. But there's a lot of things on the audio side that really make this a powerful bass moment. It is what supports the rest of the section. It's so good. Anyways, we move from that to some more moving ideas. The bass isn't so much of a support as just another guitar in this moment. We don't have any really forward momentum riffs, nothing fast and biting, but we do have more momentum than we did previously, where we primarily saw, fluttery kind of lines and suspended chords. There is momentum here, there is drive. There almost seems to be a sense of purpose at times. But it's interesting that we get to 2 bars left. So I think we're looking at like a 16 bar phrase, and we've made it to bar 14. We go into bar 15 and we pull it back. We slow the drums back down to where they were, back to the alternating bass and snare with the hi-hat hit on every beat. And we shift out our growls for a very black metal style of vocal. It is weak. It lacks the width and the power of the growl, but it still has the rasp of it. It is an anemic form of harsh. You can even hear when the vocalist holds out the notes, and it's just like this very sparse fry crackle. It lacks the power and width that we would expect from a harsh. It feels like whatever momentum or power or identity or whatever that we have found in our section, we just got the wind knocked out of us. Our drums cut back down to the lack of direction, and our vocals are no longer as powerful as they were. They're still raspy. We're not in that solemn loneliness like we were in our introduction, but we don't have the width and power either. We're somewhere in between, but we're definitely not as confident as we just were. And we bounce between this. We do that cycle once again. Clean vocal section, growl section, black metal, final 2 bars. And then we get a nice guitar interlude. I don't really know what it means storyline wise, but it was a beautiful idea. And we cut down to, I think, which was our final section, the Doom mode. Kind of taking the vibe of our intro, but pairing it with the heavy instrumentation we had in our growly section, and straight up Doom. It's just a very slow feeling tempo. I counted it at double time. I counted it where the hi-hat hit was every beat, which was a bit faster than it felt. If you go along with the guitars and the snare, it's going to feel ridiculously slow. And that takes us out. I don't have anything to add to that moment. It exists. I don't know what it means. It is a combining of our two vibes that we've had previously, but not a combining of their emotions or storytelling elements. It's just a combining of the sounds. We have the slower drumming and the suspended chords, but they're paired with the metal sounds and the growling. What does that mean? Musically, it seems like we're still stuck in place, but vocally, it sounds like we've found ourselves. We are confident again, and I'm not sure how those two come together yet. The lyrics might clue me into something, but musically, I don't know. Although on a technical level, I enjoy it. I'm a huge fan of that. So there's always multiple ways to look at music. The art style, the narrative style, the just the raw technicality of it. I love seeing, hey, you did this, now you did this. Peanut butter and jelly, smash them together, see what we get. I love hearing a band take two disparate ideas and saying, what if there's a middle point? Um, so also, what genre is this? This is Doom, right? Start to finish. I think there's some melodic elements to it that kind of give it a lot of beauty. Not something I typically associate with Doom, but a lot of it does err on the slower, heavier side. So is mellow Doom a thing? I don't know. Let me know. Let's hit the lyrics real quick and see what's going on. So it goes verse, chorus, post chorus. So I guess the post chorus is the black metal bit, 'cause it's two lines. Black metal vocal bit. Verse, chorus, post chorus, bridge, outro. So yeah, I think I nailed the structure on this. I don't think I missed anything. Even though I have like this spot in the middle of my memory where I'm like, what happened after the second black metal vocal, the post chorus as it's labeled? Um, and the doomy bit, and I'm like, oh, there's a guitar solo there. I think I'm pretty sure it was, but it's still kind of a blank spot. But yeah, the lyrical division here seems to support what I said, so I think I have a good read on that. Too late to leave, blinded by the last night, too far, too late, too deep, to escape from the hands of this night. Winter has our hearts, it finally tore us apart. Yeah, that seems to go right up in line with what I was talking about. A lack of movement. There's an understanding of the self, but no direction. And this person feels defeated. They can't escape the hands of the night. It's too far and too late to do anything. They have been stopped. Winter has our hearts. It finally tore us apart. Yeah, this person feels defeated. And that's exactly, well, defeated and alone. It says it tore us apart. I'm not too sure what the us is yet. It's a relationship of some sort, but this person is not with the person they want to be with, in whatever capacity that might be. There's our loneliness. So, yeah, I mean, musically, they absolutely nailed this vibe and what they're going for thematically with the lyrics. The chorus, the cries of loss, ripping wings, we are frozen on the lake, so close to watch her die, but too far to leave together. This tome of ice finally ripped us apart. Sorry, this tomb of ice finally ripped us apart. See, and this seems to stick with the despair. In fact, this kind of leans even further into it. The cries of loss. We are frozen on the lake. We are entombed in ice. Close enough that I can see her, but too far away to leave together. Yeah, the inevitability and lack of power to control or change the situation. This lines up with what the verse was telling me musically, not so much what the chorus was telling me. The post chorus says we are sleepless swans frozen on the lake. I mean, that part makes sense. We return to the idea of being frozen on the lake, which we did allude to in the chorus, but the chorus has a drive to it. But when we return to the post chorus and we hit that halftime drum set again, it makes sense that it feels slow. It feels isolating again because they're frozen. They have no ability to move forward. Yeah, the chorus is the only one that I don't have a strong read on thematically as far as cohesion goes, but the verse and the post chorus work together very well. Verse 2 says, lay down your eyes, blinded by the last night. The sun won't light them any longer. The deeper the dark, the clearer we see. Escaping death only made it stronger. I don't know what that means. This is the third track on this album. So it's possible that I'm just missing some narrative context between how these two people got here. Blinded by the last night, the sun won't light your eyes any longer. The deeper the dark, the clearer we see. Escaping death only made it stronger. Yeah, I don't know what it refers to, though. There's not any recent noun that it could be tying back to, I think, that makes sense to me. We hit the chorus, the post chorus, and we finish out the track with a bridge and then an outro. Waiting, silence, burning touch of air, eyes frozen, Orion, the map of sky is quiet. November sang us songs of goodbye, but foolish hearts hailed the wait. Winter has our heart now, it finally tore us apart. We are sleepless swans, frozen on the lake. So it seems to be saying that our destruction was, well, our separation, our being frozen here was foretold, and we chose to ignore it. And now this is our life. Yeah, I mean, the doomy part at the end that takes us out on this track makes sense. They are now frozen on the lake without any ability to progress in their life or their goals or even to be with each other. And that doom and gloom and dreariness and just lethargy perfectly shines through in the music to showcase the emotions of our protagonist here. The chorus is the only one that I don't really have a strong tie to. I don't. It might just be music change for music change's sake. Got to have a little bit of diversity, and I agree. I really like the jump up there. I would have enjoyed having the clean vocals all throughout, and maybe shifted to another beautiful acoustic bit. But doom band's gonna doom band, so can't complain much about that. Those are my thoughts on Swallow the Sun's Sleepless Swans. This is where you guys come in. Hit me up in the comments. Let me know what you thought of this one, anything that stood out to you, anything you'd like to add on to what I said, or correct me on. Above that, if you could, head into the description box to find a link for Linktree. Takes you to that menu right there, has links for everything related to the channel, including multiple ways to support the channel and a link to the Discord server, where I am quite active and you can chat with me and the rest of the people in the community. Above that, if you could, like, subscribe, and ring the bell, I greatly appreciate all three of those. That wraps it up for today. I will be back tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. UTC as usual. We'll continue on with this week's theme, as well as look at another special selection. Until next time, remember to be critical, not cynical, of the music you listen to, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever you choose to watch my videos.